Howdy, all you Bi-Conics Wrestling nerds out there. It's just currently me on the screen, but I'm going to be surprising everyone by bringing in my host very, very shortly. But welcome to another live streamed edition of Grapple Gurus, your somewhat bi-monthly, bi-weekly, whatever you want to call it at this point. It is our pay-per-view and PLE review show here, where we pretty much cover anything and everything related to all the pay-per-views from all the major promotions. It's going to be nuts tonight. But tonight we are here to review AEW's Revolution 2024. But before I bring on my host, my name is Mikey El Jefe himself, the face that runs the place, so to speak. And just here to do a little housekeeping before I bring in my host and we jump straight into the review. If you enjoy what we do here, you can see us. Obviously, we're live streaming, but you can catch the edited review as well as everything else we got going on at the Bi-Conics Wrestling YouTube channel. Follow us all over the social medias at BC WrestlePod. You can find it right there below in my little box down there, where if you would like to join us all over the social medias. And if you want to connect with us even further, you can check us out on the Next Level app, where all your wrestling favorites are congregating to build a nice community there. So you can check out all the links in the social medias to go over to the Next Level app. And you may want to check out some of our videos because there is a special giveaway happening with a certain major wrestling event happening that we're lucky here at the Bi-Conics to be a part of. So it's going to be a fun time. Of course, if you can't commit to watching our beautiful faces, our voices for radio will carry you through the day because we have audio podcast versions of everything. Expect this one to go up in about a week. It's going to be a great time. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, if you want to check us out live and in person, we will be at the New Jersey WrestleCon happening Saturday, May 18th and Sunday, May 19th. The Bi-Conics boys will have a table there. Come say hi, have a chat. Tell us why you like what we do, and tell us why you're not leaving any comments in our actual videos. Please tell me. It's going to be a great time. But with all the housekeeping out of the way, let's bring in our lovely gaggle of guys who are going to be doing this review with me. First and foremost, you can catch him on the AEW Rampage reviews with me. He is my other Boricua brother himself, the one and only Adolfo El Buntador II himself. Hi, bud. You're muted, by the way.
I don't know. I'm not muted. I'm never muted. I'm just talking all the time. Billy Stark's intro. That's what that was. Hello. Saludos, programas. I am Adolfo, the nerdy Puerto Rican. And I'm here to talk about some AEW Revolution. So let's go.
This is going to be a good one. And of course, it's not just me and Adolfo tonight. Joining us, you can find him all over the AEW Dynamite reviews, as well as, giving some insight on the SmackDown reviews as well. He is lovingly known as the professor around this parts. But John, welcome to the fray.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? I'm excited to talk about this. This was a blast to watch, and I have many opinions. I wish we were talking about this before. I wish I had time to rewatch it because I had so many spots I wanted to reinvestigate and talk about. But we're gonna do it live. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be so good. And of course, last but certainly not least, joining us tonight, you can, yeah, and you can also catch this next person on the AEW Dynamite reviews, as well as the Ring of Honor reviews. The multiverse of AEW madness is here. I'm just going to bring it up because I think it's funny. But JVL, John Van Vicious, we're just looking at a beautiful background.
It's Van Vicious. I didn't know it was Van Vicious.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, no.
We have here bunch of motley crew of folks that stayed up way past their bedtimes, and some of us not.
I know.
You don't sleep. You're up till 3 or 4 in the morning just because, aren't you? Isn't that your thing?
Of course, yeah. No. Sleep is for quitters.
Sleep is for the weak.
That's fair, I guess.
If I actually believe that, there'd be a problem with that. But I'm happy to be here, happy to talk about Revolution, and to hope to God that Darby Allin somehow survived his trip to the hospital.
Should we talk about that right off the bat? Because there's been updates about Darby all day.
I say yes. Let's because he was not looking well.
It was nuts. So for those of you who have no idea and are just tuning into this review, be like, what happened at Revolution? I was going to watch it later, or you decided to watch us review this thing instead of watching it. Please go watch it because it was actually a fun time, but here's what had happened. So Darby was Sting's tag team partner in the main event of Revolution for the AEW Tag Team Championships. This was a tornado tag. We'll talk about it more in depth later, but Darby decided to, throw caution to the wind, jumped off a high ladder in the ring, landed through a blade of grass, and cut himself wide open.
Darby decided to be Darby.
Right. And according to Brian Alvarez at, where is this? At Wrestling Observer, Darby Allin only needed 12 stitches. That's it. They gave him 12 stitches and sent him on his way. He's already traveling to Everest as we speak right now. Ridiculous. Wow. That guy's back was meat. There was nothing left.
He's going to go travel Mount Everest, and then he'll be back in 2 weeks for big business.
Man, I hope he doesn't coffin drop off the top. Like, that would be really unfortunate for him to be like, this is the top. I'm not going to get any better. And then just,
I'm waiting for the full promo where he takes a hit off an oxygen canister and then just leaps off, just falls the way back down.
But lands on a table at the bottom, like, oh, he's okay. He's okay. Yeah.
What you see is he's falling, and a Yeti rolls off the table, and then he goes right through it because obviously he can't hit anybody with his finishing moves.
A Yeti like the cooler or Yeti like the creature? We'd have to find out. Yeah, that's a good tease. Not bad, Jimmy. I agree with that.
But Darby's doing okay. He's going to go climb Mount Everest. He will be back to face the Switchblade Jay White at Big Business in 2 weeks. But that is for future us to review on the Dynamite panel. But tonight, we are here to review AEW Revolution.
Oh, look at the graphics.
Right? It's so pretty. I would like.
We're not used to the production value.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm always used to the production value. Therefore, because the production is me half the time.
Fair enough.
Meat? Is that what I heard?
No, we're going to be talking about that later, though. Meat. But we are here to talk about AEW Revolution that took place Sunday, March 3rd, 2024. This has been advertised the whole entire way into this pay-per-view as Sting's final match as he retires in the ring. We will discuss that when we get to the main event. But thankfully, Tony Khan got smart and decided to only put 2 matches on 0 Hour. So we're going to cover those first before we get into the main card because we did watch those. So let's just jump straight into it. Our first 0 Hour match was a 12-man tag, which saw the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. That is still a thing, yes. Which is made up of the Acclaimed and Bullet Club Gold, your AEW trios and Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, respectively, taking on the team of Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Private Party, and Willie Mack. Is that you?
Poor Willie Mack. Poor Willie Mack.
Yeah.
I'm going to start by saying this. As soon as I saw Willie on the poster, I was like, oh, I know who's taking the pin in this match.
That's unfortunate.
It was not Satnam Singh, which it probably should have been at that point, because the modern day love child of John Gonzalez and the Great Khali just the only thing I remember for this entire match is him not selling a chop block.
I was just gonna say
that was awful. That was
chop
so
block
bad.
We all got mad at. Yeah.
Well, because everyone else sold chop blocks all night.
Yeah.
I think it was perfect.
I didn't. I thought this was a strange way to start your big old bitchin' pay-per-view, right? Like something that we didn't need. And then the promo right after it was sort of like, well, what are we doing? Right. The Satnam Singh not selling the chop block was there. Satnam Singh didn't sell a lot of stuff. Like that was sort of if I remember correctly, they were attacking him in the chest and chopping him and he just kind of stood there. There was a good 30 seconds of like, here's your spot of not selling. Like, okay, great, I guess.
Very Great Khali-esque. Yep.
Yeah. So that was there. I remember there were a handful of things that happened on the outside of the ring, but nothing that was too exciting.
We did not get an El Kabong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sad we got no El Kabong.
Yeah, so number one, I'm starting to get a little bit bummed with the no usage of the Bang Bang Scissor Gang because like individually these two teams, they get a lot of pop.
Yeah.
they get people on their feet, and like together, like the people have been going nuts for them, you know?
Sure.
So like just kind of like hauling them out for these weird matches that they've had. I'm not really digging it. Number one.
Sure.
Number two, and this is nothing against Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Willie Mack, Satnam Singh. I mean, I haven't really seen Satnam Singh wrestle. Not impressed with what I saw. I know
seen him wrestle yet, because I don't think we did.
Right.
Exactly.
Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and Willie Mack, they're good wrestlers, but like I would have taken all four of those individuals out and thrown in some CMLL guys or some luchadors, you know, call up Penta and Commander like you always do, you know, to start your rampages and whatnot off, you know, because especially with Private Party, like this match would have been a great opening match to get a lot of pop, to get a lot of energy going if they had the right guys in there. And and I personally feel, I might be alone on this island, I personally feel that those four, Singh, Lethal, Jarrett, and Willie Mack just weren't it. They just weren't it.
You're not alone at all.
Proof to that. Like it's, yeah. I feel like it's like we have to like contractually use them once a month, and so they had to get everybody in on this one, and they threw it together in order to get a promo out of Jay White at the end to remind people who he is. That
was such a weird promo, by the way. Like it was like put in the weirdest spot.
Sure. And
Poor Jay.
And again, and I've talked about this on Dynamite, and I don't want to beat it up, but these promos after matches are such a tall order, and you kind of killed all. Not that you had a lot of momentum after this match, but you kind of destroyed it after having a rushed promo after that with no reason to do anything. Like, yeah, we're awesome. Yeah, we're great. You've had this promo the last 4 weeks on Dynamite where you're not even wrestling. You're just showing up and saying things. So I don't know where they're going. I'm not sure. It doesn't feel like there's anything going wrong behind the scenes, but it's just sort of a weird, like, hey, let's do this thing. Okay, great. And then not use them. It's like, where are we? I don't know. That's tough. Bad booking. Just shitty booking.
Welcome to 0 Hour.
0 Hour.
Yeah, we're used to seeing really bad booking and not so great matches. Well, actually, no, I take that back because this was not it. But this next match, though, why was this not on the main card is my first question.
It's still bad booking because it's not on the main card, and it should have been because there's other stuff that it... Go ahead, sorry.
Sweet Dragoon on a cracker, man. This match was amazing. So this was tag team match. Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale being accompanied by Stoolie Hathaway. We love you, Stokely, but we're going to call you Stoolie. Versus Sky Blue, Sith Blue, whatever you want to call her, and your TBS champion, Julia Hart. This match was awesome. I was upset this was not on the main card. And, you know, there's a consistent running theme for the last couple of months anytime Willow and Chris are on the 0 Hour, because I always say, why were they not on the main card?
Sure, yeah.
Because we needed a scramble?
Did we, though? Did we?
No, we didn't, because that also took away from the end of the thing, too. That's why we didn't get half the stuff that people got on YouTube later on, because they went overtime. Like, there was a whole bunch of, like, weird timing issues to this entire event.
Sure.
And this was one of them, because they didn't give them enough time to work, and yet they still almost stole the show.
Yeah, absolutely they did.
I will say there was one point during this match, though, where Julia did not look great in the terms of, like, sure. I think she smacked herself upside the head. And there was a bit where she had to roll out for a little bit, and then ref went to go check on her. I'm like,
yeah,
no, Julia, you were out on injury. Please don't let anything else happen.
I can't remember if it was a lariat or a powerbomb or something, but we saw the whiplash of her head. I remember seeing that and going, oh, no. And then she was not the same for about 2 or 3 minutes there. So they did a good job covering for her for sure. There were some great spots right after that, which were fun to watch.
Yeah,
I really hope she's okay.
Yeah, and this match was a great. I'm not going to say a final match, but a good bookend to the story that they have been telling with Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, Stoolie, and Julian and Sky Blue, which, unlike other pay-per-views, I feel that for Revolution, a majority of the matches did have good build-up, did have good storylines going into them, and this is one of those that the storyline was a great payoff. And I'm all in to see like best 2 out of 3 out of these 4. I'm all in for this rivalry to keep going. You know,
Sure.
I don't know if they rushed Julia back too fast from injury. I'm worried about that. And
Yeah.
things they wanted to get ready for this. So just there was a couple spots there where you could tell they had some nerves or just adrenaline where it was getting a little too fast. But overall, still a better worked match than a couple of the things that were on the card to begin with, and they need more time. Like we need our own version of Evolution pay-per-view here in AEW. We need a full women's pay-per-view because they steal the show every night.
Absolutely. So then we get to the main card. I'm still bitter that this was not on the main card, but we start off the night proper with our opening match for the TNT Championship. We have Daniel Garcia taking on the champion Christian Cage. So, okay. I have mixed feelings. So I enjoyed it upon watching it live last night. Then when I went back through it, I was like, I have mixed feelings about this one. There wasn't anything inherently bad, but I don't know. I guess I wanted more. Maybe because what I was expecting to happen didn't happen in this match. So that means to tell me that Copeland is actually injured.
Yeah, I was about to ask what is it that you wanted, and I think a lot of people were expecting Adam Copeland to come out and throw some shenanigans, and it didn't happen.
He was in the back. You did see him during Sting's promo at the end on top of the ramp. He was in the back there in civvies, so
yeah,
he was around, but obviously he may not be cleared yet.
Yeah. Yep. No, but the match itself was I thought it was a good match. I thought it really showcased Daniel Garcia. I thought it was a good push for Daniel Garcia. Yes, I'm bummed that he didn't walk away with the gold, but I feel like this was a good appetizer. Please let him continue going after the TNT belt. Let there be a round 2 in this. I thought the utilization of the patriarchy was good. Daddy Magic and Switchosaurus, duking it out the ramp and leaving. That was fun. And good on you, Nick Wayne, for disappearing and then like reappearing and then disappearing again. That was good.
Yeah, I think this match was the beats of this match, the scripting of this match, the sort of cadence was really, really smart and told a really great story. I love that bit it was maybe 2 minutes in the middle where it was just Christian going for a count out. And if you describe that to someone, like that could be the most boring thing ever. Like he's trying to win by count out, but the way it was done and the way you're rooting for Daniel to get back in the ring was great. It was actually a lot of fun. I love Daddy Magic not being scared of Lucha Switch, like not being terrified of this and going right at it. We talked about it on the stream, like dude's from Montreal, he's not scared of everything. Like, oh yeah, fair enough. I could see that right there. I think that's great. They worked. I mean, Daniel Garcia is amazing. I'd like to see more Daniel Garcia. I kind of agree with you, Adolfo. I'd love to see this if it's a TNT belt rematch thing, or if there's some sort of angle where we're using Daniel Garcia more and going after that. It seems sort of disjointed from the direction Christian Cage has been going, but I think it's kind of great, and I think Daniel Garcia is due for it. So this was fun. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I have to disagree with the count out thing a little bit. I think they went a beat too long with it, where they just kept doing it a little too much. But it was a good tactic in that respect. I do respect that. Daniel Garcia also got a lot to shine here, but I feel like he should have gotten a few more near falls, really show that he was actually getting over on Christian, including the spot where he pulled the turtleneck up over his head and started to beat him up for it, which was wonderful. But in general, like, we knew with the amount of people at ringside, unless he had more backup, there was no way he was winning this. And I don't know if he came out looking stronger. I'm actually a little worried about this because he's now lost in the big stage multiple times in the last month. Where do we kind of build him to now? Do we throw him into the international title picture up against Roddy Strong or anyone else over there? Do we have him chase, the world title again? Like, where does he fit in? Basically, I don't know.
Now, this is just pure speculation, but I wonder if Copeland getting injured kind of threw a wrench into the direction that we're headed with the storyline. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we keep Daniel Garcia in this for a little bit. But yeah, I agree with you, JBL. Daniel Garcia is winning matches, but when it comes to the, big time spaces, he's on the losing end all the time.
Yeah, I can see that. He's also 25. Dude's young, and I hope they're planning long term with Daniel Garcia, because dude's I've warmed up to him a lot over the last year. I agree. I don't want to nitpick this match too much because we got a lot to talk about, but some of these spots were just fun in the middle. The parts where Daniel Garcia was strong and Christian wasn't being full veteran Christian, angry patriarchy. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it.
Dope.
We're allowed to have different opinions.
Yes.
But I want to be like you, but I think differently.
What?
Then be you.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if we want to have differing opinions. Okay. So, after the TNT Championship match, next on up, they didn't waste no time. We got like shots of Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson walking up. We didn't waste no time tonight with a bunch of video packages in between every match. But this is where the
promo style. I love that with Renee and Lexi being there, kind of.
Yes, that was so good. I want more of that, honestly. Like, it shows the importance of these matches, but this is for the Continental Crown Championship match. Eddie Kingston taking on Bryan Danielson. And the stipulation is that if Eddie Kingston should win this match, Danielson has to shake Eddie's hand at the end of this. So not only is the championship on the line, but Eddie wants Danielson's respect. Lord have mercy, these two hit each other a lot. Like, at the first I was like, okay, they're wrestling, and then toward the end, so I was like, are they legit mad at each other? Because some of these are looking more stiffer than they're supposed to. I enjoyed this match.
That series of elbows that Eddie had in the middle, where it was just, I'd change my mind. I'm just gonna elbow you in the face. I was like, oh my gosh. Those kicks Daniel Bryanson was throwing was just, oh my god.
Literally on the screen.
They what?
I know.
I've got to get better at that. We're echoing in that arena, like you could hear that. I'm not saying Eddie was A+ Eddie Kingston. This wasn't the sharpest we've seen Eddie in the last few months or so. I that could be a whole host of reasons. He did just do that whole thing to get the belt, the whole Continental Classic, to so that he might be gassed or still hurt. We don't know. I thought this was a solid match. I enjoyed who it was for. I love the backstory of the thing too. I think the crowd was kind of strange. Like the first half of it, they were really into it. And then I think like Mikey, they kind of had a little bit of a, wait, what are we watching moment? Because we went full strong style. We went full, like, this is no spectacle. We're going to hit each other super hard. So a fun match. I enjoyed watching it. Something was missing for me. I'm not exactly sure what. I normally tend to like these matches, and I myself wanted a little more out of this as well, but still solid.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It was a solid match. It was fun. How to word this? Very solid match. The Bryan and Eddie know what they were doing. They worked really well together. It was a very good. It was a well-watched match. For me, however, the thing that was missing, and I just, I'm not shy about this, is flippy dippy do. Like watching these two slug it out, it was yeah, as you know, I had to like switch my hat, you know, and be like, okay, I'm going to be, you know, technical Adolfo that watches the technical wrestling. Oh yes, that was a good reversal. Oh, that chop, and he blocked that love. Oh, okay, yeah, you know, and then like after this match, put my other hat and just be like, whoa, man, he just did a stupid thing and almost broke his head. That was awesome, you know. So you know, I'm not. And again, please don't think that I'm saying this was not a bad match. This was a good match. It was a good match to watch. But that for me is what's missing. And generally, when it comes to like Eddie Kingston matches and Bryan Danielson matches, that is the thing that these two tend not to do. Although I will say Eddie flying through the ropes and almost getting his foot caught. That was a good spot.
You know, funny, a person that doesn't usually do flying moves tries to do one and nearly eats it the entire time.
And then immediately decides not to do that again.
Exactly. I do find it funny that we also were talking about on the live stream that we couldn't get over the fact that the way Eddie's ring gear was set up, it looked like his legs were 2 bottles of Corona and just couldn't unsee it after that.
What do we say? It was Corona versus kombucha? Was that what it was by the end? We're like, oh, that's what this is. Oh, okay.
I mean, in that same vein, this is what was good for you. Like, this is a change of pace. This is a very hard-hitting match, and it had storyline to go for. I think they took some beats a little longer than they needed to, including like the ending sequence where they were completely beating the living crap out of each other. Setting up the fact that Eddie hit his own hand on something so he couldn't do his own move is a great setup there. They had a couple of great things. Early in the match was a lot of like, it looked like 2 brothers fighting, like just like slapping things away. And there was a lot of like messiness to it that was on purpose. And I know a lot of wrestling fans that are used to their wrestling being curated and really done in that certain way probably wouldn't appreciate as much. But it wasn't terrible. I just feel like second on the card, when you've just come off, you know, a pretty emotional-ish match with a lot of schmaz, you're not wanting to like gear shift down to like a technical masterpiece. Like, you need to build toward that. And I think we discussed this as well. This card, for as good as it was, and AEW usually has solid cards on their pay-per-views, seemed to not build. There was a couple of like stop starts and like, we got to throw this match in here and this has got to be here. We don't know how the energy is going to flow. And the crowd was the same way. Like, they would die in certain parts because they just didn't know where to build to. There was no helping hand to get them excited. And this was definitely one of the places.
Yeah. And we'll discuss this when we get to the end, because I feel that if you rearrange some of this card, the ebb and flow of things would have been, you know, nice, where everybody could leave on a good note. I mean, everyone technically left on a good note with what we got for our main event, but I would have reordered some stuff. Me personally, I'm a big fan of Eddie and Danielson. I'm a big fan of the technical wrestling. I totally understand where Adolfo is coming from, especially if that's not the style that's not necessarily your favorite, or, you know, you're not used to, so you kind of switch your brain a little bit. I liked it what it was. My only thing that I had an issue with this whole entire match was the feud leading into this, because both of them were out doing other things. And I forgot that this was a match happening on the pay-per-view until like a week before the pay-per-view. I was like, oh yeah, this is the thing that's happening. And I think the other thing that hurt too is that I had to go to social media to see like the closing chapter of this whole entire thing, because there's a video on AEW social media where Danielson and Kingston have a chat right after the match. They're all taped. Yeah, exactly. In the trainer's room. I was like, where was this on television? Had we gotten something like this, not necessarily the same format, but like had tape promos or things like that, I would have been more invested in this match. I still thought it was a lot of fun. Hopefully, now that we close this chapter with Danielson and Kingston, hopefully, Kingston, you come back to Ring of Honor, because Athena is taking your spot. And there's no way you're getting him back, but we need the championship back.
Anything from him. He never had a spot because Athena was holding it. He
That's
never
very fair. It. Just give Athena the title. Just give her both the Ring of Honor World title and the women's title. Let her have both, because it is her show. But I thought it was great. Alrighty. It was a fun match. So now
gear change,
because
Oh God.
We have to talk about this. So this is the All-Star 8-man scramble. The winner of this match gets a future AEW World Championship match. And everyone explained to me why it was Wardlow. Why we knew this.
You don't have
Why?
to.
Why was it Wardlow? Because that's what the Undisputed Kingdom called at the beginning of the year when they came out. You know, they said they were going. They said they were taking the Intercontinental Championship. They said that they were taking the and Wardlow was going to take the championship from Joe, and then give it to Adam Cole, baby, when he comes back. So I'm surprised that Wardlow got a clean pin in this match. I thought that there was going to be some Undisputed Kingdom shenanigans. To their credit, even not to get ahead, but even with the Intercontinental Championship, there were clean wins. And so I was like, okay. I really enjoyed when the big meat was in the ring for this match. That was really entertaining. Dante Martin, of course, always just like watching him work is amazing. And these like I've said before, these guys, the big meat, are good guys for his type to work against because they make good bases for him to do the flippy dippy do. Hook kind of seemed like the little brother that like kept jumping in and trying to put sleeper holds on people. I don't know. And of course, Magnus had a good showing. However, wait, no, did he get pinned?
No,
it was
Dante did.
Dante got pinned. Yeah. So, yeah, Oh yeah, Chris Jericho was in this match too. Yeah,
I'm kind of glad that Chris Jericho was the afterthought. My horror was that Chris Jericho would win this and we go down a rabbit hole of Chris Jericho for the next 6 months. And there was just a tiny bit of me that was like, what's gonna happen? I don't like this. I agree with you. Hook being the little brother thing. I started laughing at it. I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, I'm just gonna try and get in there a little bit and raise some kind of hell. Because there's 8. I normally hate these matches, and I'm not saying I like this one, but for some reason I was able to watch this and not absolutely abhor it. These get messy to me. I just have a hard time when it can get very clunky and awful very quickly, and it tends to drive me nuts. I actually like seeing Lance Archer. I have not seen a whole lot of Lance Archer over on the Dynamite. I'm not sure where Lance Archer is normally. Where is he normally?
Most people are not sure where he is.
That's unfortunate. He seems cool to me. Kind of like seeing him in there. I love the suplex sequence where they're all sort of trading suplexes. That was a lot of fun. I didn't hate that. I love seeing Brian Cage and Hobbs just tear it up. That's fun to me. So there were some cool spots in here. I didn't dislike that. I understand why it's Wardlow. I get it. And everyone on our predictions was right. It was sort of like, where else are you going with him? And has to go to him for these reasons. That's kind of a theme for the night. It's like, we know who and why. Okay, let's see how they get there. So yeah, as someone who doesn't like these, I didn't hate it. I don't know if I'm running out to watch it again. But there were some fun spots in there. I kind of wish the luchadors stopped getting screwed. Like, Magnus deserved a little bit more time in here. Deserved some more fun stuff. That's just me.
Yeah, well, fun fact, because of certain, disputes with visa issues and whatnot, it was supposed to be Echiseto in this match, but because Echiseto is part of the group of CMLL boys that is fighting to, because of visa issues and whatnot, which is stupid. When we learned about that, it was so dumb. So Magnus stepped in last minute to do this. Now, here's the thing. Originally, this was supposed to be Meat Madness, and I feel like you still could have did it as a fatal 4-way. Just be Hobbs, Lance, Wardlow, and Brian Cage. I mean, adding in Dante and Magnus in this whole thing, and Hook was still kind of fun. But I feel like this went on for maybe like 5 minutes too long.
Oh, we didn't talk about the fog machine. Does anyone know if Hobbs is okay after the fog machine?
Yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. I was like,
They threw stuff that makes you go blind at Hobbs and
Yeah.
no one checked on him.
No, not they. Jericho threw it at him.
Jericho did that. Like, come on.
I didn't. I didn't see anything in any of the reports about Powerhouse. So I'm assuming that he's fine.
I mean, it did get overridden by Darby Allin bleeding from every part of his back, but the only reason this was on the main card was because it was setting up Wardlow to get a title shot, basically. If they had not put that stake on it, this Meat Madness, they could have put this on the 0 hour part of it, and it would have been fine.
This could have been a Dynamite. This could have been a collusion, and it would have been like, oh, okay, this, all right, fine, and fine. But to put it in the middle of a pay-per-view like this.
And this is part of the reason that they ran long and we missed all of Sting's thank you at the end, because matches like this took forever because of the amount of people involved and how slow people were, and just couldn't get anything else. And then the cleanup from the other stuff too. But that's all coming up.
yeah, because we're going to talk about that. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I don't want to talk about this any longer. So
We don't need
Wardlow wins. If he didn't win, I would have had lots of questions and concerns. Yeah, so we'll see how this develops. I'm gonna be honest, this is probably my least favorite match of the evening.
Why did Brian Cage re-sign with AEW? Jeez. Anyway.
I'm mad because Brian Cage continues to be amazing.
Yep.
Where could Brian Cage have gone?
He had offers from both NXT and from TNA. He could have gone to either one.
Really?
Yep.
Brian Cage in NXT would have been really cool.
Yeah.
But we're not there. We are not there. We don't have it. We have this. And we have our next match.
Yeah, we're going to move on.
Yep. We're going to talk about our next match because, okay, this was another match where I was just like, all righty then. So for the AEW International Championship, champion Orange Cassidy at the time of the beginning of this match takes on his challenger Roderick Strong,
i.e. Dollar Store Dean Malenko.
Oh my gosh. Alrighty. I have nothing else to say, but Roderick Strong won. He's the new international champion.
There is something we have to talk to about this.
Yeah, we do.
Roddy, my dude. Do you need help on how to wear a cape? Head side draped over a dollar store mask, trying to be, the Bone Soldier and not, and it just seemed like it was rushed. Like you didn't think this through, which is kind of this entire build to this entire match. There was no thought.
Orange Cassidy's a pro. Orange Cassidy's going to sell and bring it every single night. And I'm not accusing Roddy of not. Something fell through here, right? Like there was something missing under this, and I don't know if a build would have fixed it. I don't know if higher stakes would have even fixed it. There was something sort of meh, which is unfortunate. It was still fun. I still enjoyed watching it, but there was just something like, why am I was just excited to see Orange Cassidy. I'm not sure why there was a dollar store mask. I'm not sure why that was a cape from Party City. Like it wasn't even like legit Halloween store. It was Party City cape.
It wasn't referencing anything in their feud. It wasn't bringing up anything to do with it. No reason to wear it.
Yep.
Technically beautiful. No substance.
I'm going to say this, and I might draw some ire from people's, but I feel had Roddy stayed with that neck strong gimmick that he had been doing, like then that characterization would have been there, and that like was the missing piece. Yeah, because like this is like bad French vanilla Roderick Strong, like
that's what I've been saying over on Dynamite for a long time.
Yeah,
Once we took the neck thing joke away, it just kind of he got stuck. He had nowhere to go. There was no action or anything to fight for anymore.
Yeah, like Yeah, that was what was I felt that's what was making him stick out in the Undisputed Kingdom was that whole shtick of yelling and wearing the neck brace and oh I'm hurt, no I'm not hurt, oh I am hurt, like that, and it was fun,
Yeah,
because
no, no.
you already have your straight man in Wardlow, Taven and Bennett. I mean, they're funny when they have someone to work with that's funny, but for the most part, they're serious characters. Like, yeah, I think once that neck brace got placed into the drawer, that was it. Bring it back, Roddy. Bring it back. Bring back.
I agree.
Bring back the
I
neck. Neck
absolutely
strong.
agree.
You had me
Absolutely.
believe it in neck strong.
I think that would be hilarious if the rest of his career was this dude in a neck brace from an injury that happened 5 years earlier. There's something to that. I'm watching it now because there was a few spots I wanted to check. Roddy totally no-sold the orange punch. Did any of you catch that? Remember that?
Yeah.
Totally no-sold it. Like, didn't even flinch or nothing. The crowd goes crazy. Nothing. We move right on. There's just some rushed beats and spots here, which are unfortunate. So I don't know. And again, part of me feels like I'm nitpicking. Part of me still wants to be positive because I enjoy watching both of them, even though I have my Roddy Strong issue like we talked about. I just got the ending is rushed out of nowhere. Bam, pin, over. Like, wait, why? So I still love me Orange Cassidy, though. We'll see.
Yeah. Orange Cassidy is the pro among pros. They did what they could with this, but like I said, the other substance is Roddy is his moves, and he can't sell anything on it, and he's built nothing around it, which led on to like this ended so quickly as well out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden we get like I thought a fan jumped the railing at that point, which was great, but it wasn't. It was Kyle O'Reilly coming back finally, who honestly, just like when we got the video package earlier that Pac was coming back, apparently both these guys did not think they'd ever wrestle again. So this is huge that Kyle O'Reilly is in a ring and is not joining this faction because he's not going to get dragged into this void of hell in the middle of a mid-card feud. Like that, I like that about that.
Yeah, I felt like that was it kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Yep.
Like I needed to watch. I needed all of the news outlets this morning to like fill in the gaps as to who this dude was and why I should care. Which was. Which bummed me out, because I could tell it was a serious and emotional moment, and also, watching it with you guys. But like, it just felt like it was jammed in there. And like, I feel like if that spot was done at like Dynamite or Collision and given a few more minutes to like build on that story, that would have worked out better.
What about having him come out with his music at the top of the ramp? Like anything to promote who this person is, because he jumped in and he looks different, and unless you know a lot about him, you don't know why this guy's jumping the rail. So that made no sense either. I wonder if that was also down to timing, where they were already running long. They knew they were, so he was in his seat and couldn't come out to the back and do anything else. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. My final thoughts on this match. Orange Cassidy continues to be that dude for me. I love him as international champion. This was his second run and he made it awesome. I was initially excited when we got this match announced 6 weeks ago. And then as it got progressively closer to Revolution, I lost complete interest in this because Roddy could not save this feud for anything. And I'm going to be completely honest, I would have been more excited to see Taven or Bennett be in this position.
He acted
rather than
worse.
Yes, especially Taven. I would love to see Orange Cassidy versus Matt Taven round 2. Like, that would have been a phenomenal. But, that's neither here nor there. Roddy is your new international champion. So the self-fulfilling prophecy that is the Undisputed Kingdom is slowly coming to fruition. we just need to see if Wardlow can get that championship. Spoiler alert, I don't think he's going to, but you never know.
No, there's going to be some shenanigans or something's going to happen, but they have to give it to him at some point to do that turn where he breaks away from them, because otherwise, why is he there?
Yeah. All right. I'm done talking about this. I'm sad. I wanted more from this. We're moving on. Okay. Hear me out, right? So next match we got was FTR versus BCC, being represented by Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. So hear me out. I watched it a second time today, and I still feel the same way. As much as I like these two teams and I like these four men separately, I still think that having these two fight to the time limit draw 2 weeks ago on Dynamite did not help the case for this match, because literally I watched this match second time and I was like, I feel like this is the same match we got 2 weeks ago, except the only difference is that FTR Bald is bleeding all over the place now. Okay. Here's the other thing I didn't like, and this is my own personal bias because it ruined my prediction streak that I was going on. I feel like Mox and Claudio didn't necessarily need to win this one, because I'm sitting here, I was like, where is the trajectory that these two are going? Why did FTR need to lose in this one? I feel that FTR needed to win this one in order to keep their momentum going and then to add depth to their characters, which I've been so asking for AEW to give me. Their in-ring work is phenomenal, but they're more boring. Their charisma is more boring than watching paint dry on a wall.
And then you get the whole thing also where, like, they're both North Carolina boys. And this is a very WWE move where they lose in their hometown, especially to the Legion of Dork, as you know, the BCC came out and basically Legion of Doom pads, because Sting, like, I didn't.
That was awful. That was awful.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead, Prof.
No, I was just gonna say I didn't hate them coming out as the Road Warriors. I didn't hate it. Maybe that's just either. I'm biased and I'm nostalgic, and I was like, but cute. So I didn't hate that. Everything I was gonna say has kind of already been said. Like, we've just watched this 4 weeks in a row on Dynamite, and we kind of got the same thing. There were a few things that I hadn't seen before. That sort of calf slicer flip into leg scissor head thing Moxley did was pretty cool. That was great. They know each other so well at this point. It's measured. It's safe. I just wish I haven't seen it so much so recently. That's tough.
Yeah.
And I had myself coffee with one of our friends, Andrew, today, and Andrew said exactly what Mikey said the other night, where it was like, hey, how come FTR, who's arguably one of the best tag teams, period, right now, losing to a makeshift rando tag team just because, and jobbing to them for some reason? Like, that doesn't compute in my brain.
Especially as the tag titles were in jeopardy that evening, and we didn't know where they were going to go after that. Like, you want all of your tag teams, real tag teams, to be strong.
Yeah. Yep. Now, maybe this is going to set up an FTR run for the tag belts. Now, spoiler, that the tag belts are now vacated. Because that did come out today, that the tag belts are now vacated, and now they're going to have a tournament for the AEW Tag Team Championship belts. So maybe, this puts FTR into that trajectory. The match, I enjoyed watching this match. I am more vested in BCC versus CMLL. Like, just like. This storyline, them coming in and challenging, them being FTR, coming in and challenging Mox and Castagnoli, it didn't make too much sense when it happened, but okay, it happened. The matches that they had were banger matches. The match that, when they came to a draw, that was awesome. And yes, I will admit that I wanted to see the rubber match, after that, right? I don't think that. I think this could have been a really good 0 hour match, as opposed to taking up the space where it was, and again, not that it was a bad match, because like wrestling wise, it was a great match. Had a lot of the stuff that I like to watch. It just like this, just like story wise, there was no, there was no what's the word,
Pizzazz, panache.
pizzazz, panache. There was no threat. There was no like.
Oh yeah, fair.
There's no
No
urgency.
stakes. No
There's no
urgency.
stakes.
No stakes. Yeah. Whereas, and that's why I'm saying I'm more vested in BCC versus CMLL. Because for like 2 to 3 weeks we had, the locker room clearing out, coming to the aid of BCC, and apparently BCC, really pissed off CMLL, and now, so I will stop talking about that. But yeah, that's my thought.
No, I'm right there with you. We saw that they rushed the ring. They came out of the crowd like it was the borderline gang fight that one time. Like, yeah, that seems really interesting to me as well.
The front office came out to stop them. Karen from HR was there.
Sorry, we had Joan from payroll and Karen from HR came down. Again, the visa thing and all that. I'm wondering how much of the echoes of that we're seeing in this match and how that played.
No, honestly, I believe this was supposed to be CMLL versus BCC on this pay-per-view, and because of the visa issues, they had to like pivot really quickly.
That's
and
tough.
Went to this.
Which, if that's ends up the case, then I guess that's fine. But, presentation is very important in wrestling to me, especially when you present a story, even if this was a makeshift, story to get us to this match at the pay-per-view. The way that you presented this is that BCC is these kings of AEW. And in order for anybody, whether it be trios, tag team, or faction, you want to come for the heads of those who run the kingdom, so to speak. And that's why I was saying that FTR, I feel like, needed to win this one, because they always find themselves at the cusp of being at the top of the division, at the top of their game, of being the ones that run the place, so to speak. But, they always come up short against the final bosses of BCC, which is cool and everything. But I'm very wary of the fact, because Mox gets put in these situations and BCC gets put in these situations where they lose like the television matches, but then they wins the ones that matter. I'm afraid BCC is going to become the Super Cena of factions, where they're constantly winning the big ones and no other team or no other faction is going to get over. I'm not saying that it's as bad as Super Cena, but it's starting to get there for me. I'm tired of seeing BCC always end up coming out on top when it comes to these big matches, which is fine and everything for most folks, but I'm starting to lose my interest in BCC as a faction because they keep winning. There's no back and forth.
I think we could talk about that all night, but we should move on. But I agree with you. I think there's some issues with that. Issues even. And what's hard is I like them all. I love John Moxley. I love watching Daniel Bryan. I love watching Claudio most of the time. I'm wondering where Wheeler is. I haven't seen Wheeler in forever because I'm watching Dynamite.
Injury.
Wheeler's hurt too. Goodness.
Injury bug.
Yep, injury bug is running rampant right now.
I don't know. And I don't want to, we're more than halfway through, and I don't want to feel like we're ragging on this pay-per-view, because I actually enjoyed watching it with everyone and watching it. There's just certain things that we had
the middle of this, the middle of the pay-per-view and where we put certain matches kind of dragged on a little bit.
Yeah, that 2 hours in the middle lasted 6 hours. Like, what's happening? And the crowd felt it, because by the time we got to the end where the crowd should be excited, which we're about to talk about, they were dead quiet.
Even with the blood, like, it just didn't pop them either. Like, that was the big thing. They tried everything they could to get it going. It didn't work.
Yeah, but BCC once again remain at the top of the throne of All Elite Wrestling, and who knows if anyone's going to come close to knocking them off of their throne. So as soon as this match is over, we head into our next one. Oh, my girls. Okay, so I'm going to go off because the biggest critique I have is not with the match itself. I'm just upset that this was the match that got the shortest amount of time. I looked at all of the timestamps, And even though as quick as our main event was, that still got more time than this match. And that very upsets me. But for the AEW Women's World Championship, Timeless Toni Storm defending her title against challenger Deonna Purrazzo. I've wanted more time with this. If they gave me 3 more minutes, then they could have done more. But I have to give credit to these girls because they did what they could at the time they were allotted. Shout out to Mariah May for fooling me for a hot minute when she came out as all Toni Storm.
Well, and that fed into the storyline because she, Deonna kept saying, I want to see the old Toni Storm. And we almost got that, but we didn't. Which is great. A little bit of trolling. I overall, I'm with you, Mikey. It was a shorter match than needed to be. The crowd was dead from being pushed so hard from the last 2 matches that they literally gave them nothing. But they got them back into it by the end of it. These women worked their butts off and really proved why they're so good. Yes, we knew there was going to be a schmoz finish. Yes, we knew there was going to be a way to get out of this. And, Toni ends up taking the win based off of direct distraction and the Storm Zero. But it between the dead crowd and again commentary in AEW proves they do not know without having someone there to keep them basically let them know that they're doing the wrong thing. They don't ever follow the match, it seems like, especially with having everyone there. You need to have a Toni Storm sitting next to these guys going, hey, I'm going to keep you accountable and make this fun. Put somebody out there on it. Have Mariah May talking to them. Do something because commentary, you're failing women right now on everything.
I'm telling you, you have almost everyone there. Put Ian. Put Ian there.
Riccaboni.
He does the commentary for Collision. And so that's why me and Adolfo love watching Collision because, Ian is there for Collision. Put him for the women's matches. Like, come on now.
Dude, I love Ian, and I feel like he's going to get a big check from another promotion someday if AEW is not careful. Like, that dude is gold.
Funny thing is that Ian has gone on record saying that as much as he would love to try to do other promotions, Ring of Honor is his home, and he wouldn't want to be anywhere else because and plus, it would break my heart to break up the team of Ian and Caprice, man. They are the 2 best commentators in the game right now, and that's not an opinion. That is a fact.
So I talked to the Andrew, who's not with us tonight, and a few other folks, and I also saw the same thing on the internet. Normally, I do not agree with the internet, but this is rare. Which we're on the internet. This is not the sharpest I've seen Deonna Purrazzo, even though she hasn't even been here that long. This was sort of a technical bout at the top, and I love me some technical stuff. I have no problem with that. They were very measured, very paced, and all of a sudden it was over. And I think they only got, 12, 13 minutes at the most?
They got 12 minutes and 45 seconds.
Woof, yeah. So getting that much time, you don't have a lot of time to be as measured as they were. Some of the spots were kind of rushed. Nothing was a botch. Nothing was out of place, and I still loved seeing them. I'm kind of sad that this was what we got to with the buildup for this, which was really good. This was a lovely story. Everything you could have wanted was here for me anyway. And now it's like, okay, well, where do we go? What do we do? So that irks me a little. But, they're fighting an uphill battle being placed in the middle of this thing, which I guess is fair. Like, we're building towards the end. It wasn't like they kicked off the night and got 12 minutes. That would have sucked. So I had fun watching them. I would watch them forever. I agree with you. They needed 3 or 4 more minutes to really get it underneath.
I mean, if you want to make that noise, that's perfectly fine. But still.
Okay.
I just needed 3 more minutes, and then I could definitively say, like, this was a baller match. But of course, timing issues were a whole entire thing. I don't know. I wanted more for this. I'm wondering if we get a rematch down the line between these two. And if not,
that would be
coming up soon is big business. We've got Mercedes coming in. There's going to be a race no matter what.
Well, I mean, if the reports are to be true, Mercedes will be dealing with Serena for a little bit, so we may just keep her over there for now. Let Deanna and Tony finish this off, and then I think Deanna gets a rematch at Dynasty, which we'll talk about in a hot second. And then we move on to Mercedes and Tony at Double or Nothing, but that's just me. And we can save that for a future episode. But I love these girls. Wish they got more time. I'm moving on, not because I didn't like this match, but we got lots more matches to talk about because after our AEW Women's World Championship match, oh my God, my match of the night.
Just took the crowd and zipped it right straight back up at that point. Did not
Jeez
stop.
Louise.
For a second.
Oh my gosh. So, and
Bruv.
just bruv. In a singles match, Will Ospreay taking on Konosuke Takeshita. I have no words. This match was the least amount of notes I had because this was just awesome.
You couldn't take your eyes off it. It was a car crash in the best possible thing.
So good.
Between the Cody cutters that were being hit, you know, the ridiculous knees coming at it from Takeshita, the fact that we ended on a Tiger Driver 97, like a move that really should never be done because it just kills your career. Takeshita was out on his feet for some of this, whether he was selling or not. There was a lot of just bombs being thrown.
Will Ospreay throws that forearm like a pitcher throws a fastball, just full bam, and it lands flush every single time. Konosuke must have took like 10 of those.
I'm
It was brutal.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that this was not wrestling that we watched. This was poetry.
Poetry, even. Yes.
In motion.
Violent poetry, just like flowing. My match of the night could not.
Verse though, or is it actually like written down?
No. This was definitely not Slamverse. This was like that, like getting into that flow hip hop vibe, like, you know, where you know the person's a lyricist and they take you on this journey, and then like when it's over, you're like, what just happened? You know what I mean? In a good way. And that was this match. It just like, man, it was, these two just showed out, and I loved it.
And commentary woke up. I said on the stream, you know, when Don Callis is the better option than Taz or Nigel, that says something about what's going on that evening.
Yeah.
It could be the fact that there was the sign that my sign of the night was during this when they panned over to the thing, and behind the commentary desk, you see Don Callis is the personification of period cramps. I was like, that made my night to see that thing, and that didn't spoil what we saw there. It added to it. It gave it, because Don was trying to sell both sides of it. As we know, things are breaking up, and his two guys are basically tearing each other apart. It was wonderful to see.
This match was so phenomenal. I loved what we got in our main event, but for me personally, just from a pure wrestling standpoint, this was my match of the night. And, you know, I've seen some people say online, you like, this was overhyped. This was like not as great as everyone thought it was. I was like, you just being a hater. You can't have Will Ospreay, like, we've seen what he can do. We've seen him go against Orange Cassidy, the massacre that was him and Kenny at Forbidden Door last year. For those of us that watched the indie promotion TNA, him and Josh Alexander went to war twice. Speedball Mike Bailey and Will Ospreay had my match of last year. Like, that match was baller. Will Ospreay adapts very well to his opponent and knows how to bring it in and to show up and show out too. This was phenomenal. My match of the night. And we get the eventual down the line breakup of this family, because who should be coming back into the ring after this match was over but Will Ospreay's United Empire stablemate crowns up for Kyle Fletcher, your Ring of Honor World Television Champion. They have a hug out. It is great. I cannot wait for when Mark Davis comes back for Don Callis family versus United Empire. Like, that's going to be so good. And it was so good. I felt bad for the match that came after this, though, because we had such a good classic, because But I gotta say, even though this had a hard time following up what we just witnessed, these three men made the match very fun and very enjoyable. So in your semi-main event for the AEW World Championship, you had Samoa Joe defending his title against both Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. This match was a lot of fun, and Hangman Page going full on heel, just beating up the ref in the middle of the match. I was just like, what is this? I was like, this is new for me, and I'm kind of here for it.
They told the story that Swerve and Hangman were more focused on still tearing each other apart than actually doing the job to beat Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe had to spend his time saving his belt from everybody else. We did jump over them, Mikey, one of the better entrances of the evening, as Prince Nana is joined by the ostensibly Nitro dancers doing the dance in, and then out of
AEW Fly Girls.
And then we have Mufasa Swerve Strickland coming in with his lion's mane of a hood. It was
that coat is so good.
That was yeah.
That
yeah.
was
Yeah. You know, I go ahead, Prof. I apologize.
He didn't say anything.
Oh, I was that you, JVL? Were you going to say something?
Nope.
Okay. You know, I'm probably alone on this island, but I feel that the Ospreay Takeshita match, you know, yes, got the energy level, and I feel that this match would rode that energy quite well. You know, especially hearing this morning that Hangman Adam Page is going to take some time off. So, you know, seeing him just completely unhinged in this match and beating up the refs. Now, when he disappears, you know, and they give the reason, oh, he was suspended for hitting the refs or whatever, like it's there. And now it gives us a good segue into Joe versus Swerve, you know, which I feel that that is the end game, is Joe versus Swerve. And I thought the match was great. You know, we have seen Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland go at each other, and each time they go, it's a banger of a match. You know, to have Samoa Joe in there, like, yeah, it was. I thought it was entertaining, you know, especially when Joe did his walk away, you know, thing. Like that was fantastic. It was good. It was good. It was high energy. It continued the story, and I'm excited to see where this goes.
I was playing Nerf with my son at the time, and this was in the background, so this did not get the diligence that it
How dare you?
my son was lonely. I had to shoot Nerf darts at him. However, the few things I caught looking over my shoulder and the pops that were there, yeah, I'm very intrigued by this. I did catch the Adam Page destroying a ref. Like, wait, why? What did I miss? That's a hell of a thing to come in on. Be like, how did we get here? So I'm gonna rewatch that and take a look at how that all unfolded.
Go back and watch the Chiron 2 at the beginning, where it says Hangman Adam Page has definitely lost it at the top of the
really nice.
We love the intangibles of these entrances. It's so good.
Oh, they Maria.
But Joe making Hangman tap, so Hangman's gonna be taking some time off. I'm very interested.
I got to ask this to you, Mikey. There is a theory going around, because they're also swerving this a little bit to be, is a part of the psychology. Did Hangman tap because he was done, or did he do it to screw Swerve over because he knew he wasn't going to win?
Yes.
He gave up quickly.
Ooh.
I want to say yes to both, but more leaning towards he wanted to stick the proverbial middle finger to Swerve.
Right.
Because that's the whole entire thing, that now that Hangman has turned heel.
Wow.
He's just wants to ruin Swerve's life, just like Swerve tried to ruin his leading into Full Gear.
Completely.
So good. I'm very interested to see what happens with Swerve's path to this championship, because technically he didn't lose, but with Wardlow winning the 8-man scramble, and I'm going to put my Booker hat on for a hot second.
God, the Booker hat's coming.
Here we go.
There we go. So here's what I would do. And AEW, if you're watching our product, just, you know, be happy.
Isn't that the writing hat? I thought your Booker hat was a different hat.
Oh, hang on. Let me turn it inside out because I could turn it to make it 2 different colors.
That's the Booker hat. You had the wrong costume. That's what it was.
There we go. The gold is going to be my Booker hat. So here's how I would book this. With Wardlow winning the 8-man scramble, I would have him and Joe fight at Dynasty in April, which will allow Swerve to do something else or to kind of be watching for this. And then when Joe beats Wardlow at Dynasty, then we get Joe and Swerve one-on-one at Double or Nothing, where I think Swerve should take the title at Double or Nothing.
I just really quick notation. How about the shine of babyface from Swerve when Nana tried to hand him the crown and Swerve just threw it back, was like, nah, you know? And this is the second time that
His name is
Yeah, he
Nana.
said- Nana.
Nana, yeah. That's his name.
Not Nana.
Not na.
Hey, goodbye.
And this is the second time that we've seen Swerve tell Nana not to interfere, you know? So it's I thought that was very interesting. So I'm like I said, I'm excited to see how this pans out.
And this is perfect because now with Hangman taking some time off, you can let Swerve kind of be the anti-hero face in a way too, because he's still despicable, but the crowd is so behind him.
Well, it was like that for Tony Storm too. Remember, all these supposed heels are getting cheered as anti-heroes, which is ridiculous. And so
I know.
Very
It is a lot of fun. Well, speaking of Dynasty, it is after this match that, because I am putting this in here because it is breaking news, we do get word that AEW is having an April pay-per-view, as if all the pay-per-views they do within the year is not enough. We got to add one in the month of April. So on Sunday, April 21st, we will have AEW Dynasty. It looks like the theme is going to be all the championships will be on the line. So potentially Dynasty is the AEW equivalent for Night of Champions, which I would not be against because I would love to see championships be defended on pay-per-views. We have our work cut out for us in the month of April. I'm just going to leave it at that. But I'm excited for Dynasty, and I love this very regal look that we're going for to be the theme for this. I love me a good theme in wrestling pay-per-views. It's really, really fun. All right. We've waited long enough. Now we get into the main event of Revolution in a tornado tag match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. We have the challengers, the AEW EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, formerly known as the Young Bucks, taking on your AEW World Tag Team Champions, Darby Allin and Sting. For the moment that the entrances were done and everyone was in the ring, this match had its foot on the gas because there was not a singular moment, minus one interference from a Nature Boy, this match did not slow down. And there was a lot of stuff where I was like, I don't have a child, but I don't know how I would feel if Darby was my child. Because Darby Allin, young man, what are we doing to ourselves?
Mikey, you skipped over like the biggest pop of the night with the entrance of Sting.
We got getting there.
And everything else. Oh my God. And his sons in his ring gear, dressed up as Surfer Sting, as NWO Wolfpack Sting, to welcome him in.
Even before that, the whole Sting in the theater playing footage of his whole entire career, I was like, this is cinematic masterpiece. I love when main events or even just matches have this big cinematic feel, because it shows the gravitas and the importance of what we're about to witness on our television screen or computer screen because we were watching on the internet. I really enjoyed that video package because I love when time and effort is put into make matches that are important feel even more important. And then having Sting's son dressed up as various iterations of him was so fantastic.
And Search and Destroy. We got Search and Destroy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Seek and Destroy. Seek and Destroy.
Sorry. Yes, the Intercontinental title. No, it's just the amount of money they dropped on that, everything to have it there.
Sure.
This was the send off Sting deserved.
I've been calling for Surfer Sting all week, and I had that split second of, oh my God, it just happened. you could see it on the replay. I was like, yes, he did it. He's 30 years younger. That's his son. Oh, okay.
I hear him very big again.
I was like, wait, that's not. Oh, I see what we're doing. I put this on my matches of the year shortlist just because the package, Darby's incredible spot, which we'll talk about, and the match was good. Like, I enjoyed this. Yes, it was measured. Yes, they were taking care of an old man. The Ric Flair thing, I don't think you needed it, but I'm sure that's what Sting wanted, was Rick in there at some point. I love seeing Ricky there, taking a bump on the outside. The whole internet is doing this. Well, two things. Everyone's talking about the blood, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in a minute. But I kind of agree with a few other folks talking about Sting going undefeated in AEW and not eating the pin to put somebody else over. There's a lot of folks who are just tradition based, who are, gripping that. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. Why did Sting do that? I thought Sting loved this industry. And when things are canon, I tend to say that they're bullshit, because now I can't do anything with it. And that's me as the artist. And I have the same problem with Shakespeare and other things like that, where I'm sort of like, if you've already told me all the rules, then why are we here? And I kind of love this. Sting got screwed by every other promotion Sting retired from. Tony Khan, in my opinion, did this right. And we saw Sting struggle, not necessarily from losing matches, but from, taking bumps and getting destroyed in different ways. So we saw a different struggle on Sting. I love the culmination of this. I thought it was great. There's something ominous. I'm watching it on my phone right now. When they go to the outside for the first table bumps, they pass by the EMTs and the med team. And there's an extra 10 guys there, all in polos and everything else. Yeah. And there's just kind of this nod to Darby, like, okay, we know it's coming. Like, they're all there. And now clocking that as I see this, I'm like, oh, they knew this was going to get rough.
They fully expected him to bleed out, is what ended up being. And the Bucks didn't need this. And I was like, the Bucks didn't need the rub of Sting giving them that pin. So I think that was the other reason not to do it, was like, they don't need it.
They're not at all.
Yeah, this is a prime example. And again, this is my own personal opinion, but this is a prime example of losing and still getting over. The Young Bucks, they're going to be over. They're going to be in the tournament for the tag team belts now that Sting and Darby vacated those belts. And I am again going to go on my island and say no. If you're mad for Sting winning this match, I disagree with you. You are incorrect, because having that feeling of watching Sting, watching a wrestler that you have grown up watching in all these matches, just like being that Superman that you've always held he is in your mind. Yeah. Oh, he knows sell the table back. Oh, he knows sell. Yeah, you're damn right he did.
I love no sell Sting. I don't know.
That was awesome. That was fantastic. And for him to, in essence, take on the Young Bucks by himself and win and get his arm raised, that, warm and fuzzy in the tum-tum. That was perfect. That was the serotonin I needed. Had he taken the pin, yes, I understand that. Oh, the retiree takes that. Yeah, I get that, right? But I would have been pissed. And might not have had nice words about the match.
I feel like, and I absolutely agree with you, Adolfo. And those hate comments can come from you and I, and we'll take on every single one of those. I feel like there's a sense of it, and if this was any other old retiring superstar, absolutely. But every generation, there's what? If I'm being generous in wrestling terms and generations of stars, there's maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 that are like, okay, you are above and beyond transition for what you've done for this sport, this medium, this entertainment in general. And you would, if you had to, I don't want to say the Mount Rushmore thing because it's overdone, and frankly, I don't think it works for sports and whatever else. But there's certain folks where it's like, oh, okay, you're retiring, you eat the pin, you go over, you did the tradition. Sting, no, Sting is immortal. Sting gets to no sell. Sting sells this, means this to these people. Like, there's so much more to that. So I think that's where that falls flat. They took great care of Sting here. All the ladder bits, all the chases and things. Sting hit hard in this match. There's one or two lariats in there that he decapitated those boys. And they sold it. They took care of him on that huge, what was, Darby got powerbombed, and then there was the suplex onto the table, and then Sting goes and does it, like you said, all by himself. I thought that was fantastic. Again, it's in my match of the year shortlist just because we're only in March, and I do have some issues with it, but I'm not going to nitpick it because that's not what it was about. It was about, let's send Sting off correctly.
Yeah.
And I think they did.
Sting is now stung. But here's my question to the internet. This is my honest question. If we go back and we think about all of these old school wrestlers that took the pin, that looked at the lights, that did all that stuff and went out on their back in the tradition you're supposed to, what percentage of them had that itch, had that feel, had to come back later on in a different company, different anything else, because they lost? And while it's tradition, no one likes to lose. You want to kind of go out when you're on top sometimes. This is Sting, who has transcended so many generations, kept his body thing, didn't know that he would be able to do this after what happened in a previous company, saying, no, yeah, I probably should have gone out this way. A lot of my compatriots did. But I'm going out on top. There will be no drive for me to get back in the ring again because I didn't go out on my back. And I feel like that's what wrestling has transitioned into, whether they've learned it or not, or whether it's an actual thing, is that sometimes, especially for the bigger guys and the guys that really affected everything like this, you need that catharsis and feel-good moment, and for the fans, that seeing your hero win one more time. And that's what we got here, is he beat the odds, he left his partner in a bloody mess, and he won. Let the man have his time and enjoy the fact that he's actually going to stay retired so we can hang on to that moment.
Well said. To kind of close out, us talking about Sting's final match, as someone who hasn't grown up with Sting but knows of all the accomplishment that, say what now?
He predates you.
Yes, he predates me and one other co-host here. But if you had a conversation with myself and said other co-hosts, both of us respect the hell out of Sting and what he means to this business. And I'm going to be a little bit biased when I say this, but normally, yes, as JVL explained, usually if you're retiring, you put someone over, you go out looking at the lights, so to speak. I'm kind of happy that it didn't work out this way, only maybe because of Sting has admitted he hasn't been always the greatest person, but he's owned up to all that. And just from everything in his in-ring work and how he treats other people and things like that, I feel that going out undefeated in AEW and retiring in AEW like this and being retired as a tag team champion to end your career, it couldn't happen to anyone better. Like, honestly. And I love hearing, when good people get rewarded for just being a good and decent human being, which isn't that hard in hindsight. So Sting, this was one hell of a final match. I am super happy that I got to be a part of such a monumental moment that years down the line, when I have my own children and we look at the history of professional wrestling, I could say that I got to see Sting's final match. Fantastic. And you know what? Really quickly, too, shout out to the Young Bucks, too. Like, they played their part. I can't even imagine how much they feel honored to be a part of this momentous moment. It's something that those two and Darby are going to have on their resumes, forever, how long their careers end up being. But Darby, I love you, but last thing, we got to slow down, bro. Like, oh my God.
Sure, Darby's got to live a little while longer. I'm glad you said that, and it reminded me something else that Adolfo said. The Young Bucks didn't need this. The Young Bucks got a certain momentum out of this, which is going to be great because now they're real heels, in my opinion. They've been hinting at it for weeks. We've been talking about it on Dynamite, where certain things they're doing are kind of falling flat, and this promo's not so good, and okay, whatever. They were mean and heels and laughing. The a la Shawn Michaels, I love you spot. I was like, oh, that's so mean. Oh, and then Sting no sells it and gets some. Like they covered in each other's blood. They ate all those spots. Like, I hope they relish in this and keep moving forward as whatever executive whatever things. I still don't buy that, but as in the ring work, I love that.
This is very fantastic, and it was a nice way to end Sting's career. And then, of course, because of timing issues, we only got to see part of Sting's speech at the end. And Darby had to tell them, hey, they're cutting the feed. And so we got cut off halfway through. But thankfully, the internet and AEW is nice enough to let us know. And we got to see it for those of us that went online to see that whole thing. And as Adolfo said earlier in the review, the tag teams have been vacated. They've been relinquished. So we're going to be holding a tournament, which means that we're going to see some tag team action, and we're probably going to crown new champions at Dynasty in April. So this was a phenomenal main event. I enjoyed it. That brings us to the end of our Revolution review. So boys, final thoughts, and then we got to get into final grades. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Revolution as AEW's first pay-per-view of 2024?
JBL, what do you think?
Are we doing the empanada scale for this, or are we just giving a rating?
Are we empanadas? Should we do like a glass pane scale or some sort of?
How many glass panes?
Yeah, how many guys? Yes.
How many glass panes would you jump through?
Yeah, out of 10 glass panes to break.
I felt this one was more of a 7.5 glass panes. I didn't get all the way through the last one. I kind of broke it in half, but some stayed there. It showered the crowd a bit, got some people really scared in the front row, just like when Darby did it. There were those two people that just got completely covered in plate glass. But it wasn't terrible. It was definitely enjoyable. Had they reworked it a bit and actually thought about some of the match card, it would have been better.
Yeah, Adolfo, what do you think?
I'm saying 8 out of 10 glass panes. I would go through 8 out of 10 glass panes to watch this pay-per-view. It was enjoyable. There was again, there were a few tweaks that I would have made, but it didn't impact the enjoyment of all the matches, even for all the gripes that I had with some of the matches. They were still if you sit down and watch them, they were great matches. So,
Professor, what say you?
Oh, you beat me to it. I was going to throw it to you, Mikey.
I know your game.
I agree. I felt like I was nitpicky for a lot of things that I was expecting and wanting. And I think time management wise, this just got more and more and more bloated, which is unfortunate. No, I'm right in that 7.5, 8, solid 8 panes of glass. Like the old school Mortal Kombat thing where you have to break through the wood or the ice or the thing, and there's panes of glass. Yeah. See, talking to the demographic again.
You're falling right through the next level. I see it.
The last, I don't know, let's say hour of this was its own pay-per-view. Damn, that was on fire. Everything leading up to that, we already kind of talked that to death. So I'm gonna rewatch these. I already have it on my short list of what am I rewatching for match of the year when we get there a few months from now. So I'm excited to go back and look at these and between Will Ospreay, Sting, Darby, all that, Tony Storm and Gianni Perazzo. I wanted more out of that, but that's a fun one to go rewatch. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Just play with the Nerf guns next time to make sure that you have the whole thing set up again. So
That's what. So I don't miss I need the full effect. Yeah.
exactly. Mikey.
So I'm going to give this 7.5 glass panes out of 10 as well. I thought this was a fun pay-per-view. I enjoyed myself. My biggest critiques would be to move a lot of the matches around. But if we're going to get quickly into specifics, I would have swapped FTR and BCC and swapped it with Chris, Willow, Julia, and Sky to be on the main card instead. I would have probably had the 8-man scramble start off the pay-per-view to kind of get that out of the way and to get everything. And I would have actually put Takeshita and Will probably somewhere in the middle of the card to kind of have peaks and valleys and stuff like that. But I still thought this was fun. I'm excited for Dynasty, but boys, this was fun. This is our first AEW review of 2024, where the AEW boys are here to review everything. So it's going to be fantastic. Thank you for joining me. We're going to get on out of here because the night is still young. But before we go, from myself, the AEW boys, and all of us here at the Bi-Conics, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, stay Bi-Conic, you guys, gals, non-binary pals, he, she, theys, and gays of the internet. We will see you this Sunday as the TNA crew will be tagging in to review Sacrifice. But until then, ta-ta for now.